everyone. I'm Kathy Duncan, clinic rehabilitation technician and volunteer education chair. Pacific Wildlife Care is the only rehabilitation facility in San Luis Obispo County. Our goal is to release healthy, orphaned, and injured wildlife back into their environment. A second part of what we do is we have a group of educational non-releasable animal ambassadors because we feel it's important to take these animals to schools, service clubs, especially for children to see them and learn how important our wildlife is. In 2019, we took in 2,613 animals. In 2020 so far, we've taken in over 2,350 animals. We are open 365 days a year. If you find a wild animal that's in distress, orphaned, injured, call our hotline 365 days a year, 805-543-WILD. Welcome to Wild at Heart at Home, our first virtual event. This is day 3, and today we're going to speak about mammals. 2019, out of that 2,600 plus animals we took in, saw 600 mammal admissions, covering 31 species of mammals. Our top intakes were bunnies, black rats, ground squirrels, raccoons, and opossums. The winner was the Virginia opossum. 2019, we took in 246 opossums. We took in 110 bunnies, combination between brush rabbits and cottontails, and 49 raccoons. Raccoons stay with their mother for a year. We get a lot of baby raccoons because the mom has been trapped and relocated, and that either leaves young babies to die, or because they stay with their mother for a long time learning the skills that they need, sometimes a mom or the older juvenile is trapped, and that separates a family when they're maybe not ready to actually be on their own and be separated. So we encourage you not to trap and relocate animals. A lot of times people say they relocated them back to their natural habitat. Well, in most cases where my home and your home sits is their natural habitat. That was their habitat until we built our houses there. So I know nobody wants a raccoon living in their attic, but if there is a way, if you are having problems with them, you can give our hotline a call and we will tell you how to humanely exclude them from maybe a place where they shouldn't be, but keeping the family intact. Three interesting animals we got in this last year that we don't usually get were weasels. We got 3 baby weasels, not from the same family, from 3 different families. 2 of them, their nest had been destroyed, and one of them was caught by a cat. Weasels need to stay in care for 5 months. They're 5 months old before they are ready to be released. And those 3 little weasels, when they were teenagers until release, were eating a combined 18 mice a day. So they are voracious little carnivores. If you find a baby opossum, that's one animal that we do not recommend you put it outside and wait for the mother to come back. Mother opossums can have up to 13 babies and they can't count. When the babies get old enough where they're following along or riding on the mother's back, if she loses one, she does not know she lost it. So if you find a baby possum in your yard, scoop them up, put them in a box, keep them warm, quiet, and give our hotline a call. The complete opposite of that is a fawn. Mother deer leave their babies curled up in the grass while they forage for food. When the baby is real young, it can't keep up with the mom. So we often get kidnapped fawns. If you are walking and you see a fawn who's quietly curled up in the grass, leave it alone. Don't kidnap it. It is fine. If something is wrong and the mother is dead, the fawn will be running back and forth crying. Following these presentations today, we have a raffle. Raffle tickets are $6 each or 5 for $20. If you purchase $20 of raffle tickets, that will include a link to a fantastic wildlife film, and there's lots of good stuff in our raffle. Shortly, we will have a presentation from volunteer Tara Galante, who will introduce you to one of our educational mammal ambassadors.
Hi, this is Uma, and she is a Virginia opossum. She's full grown, and she is getting close to 2 years old. So opossums are really common in this area, and they're so common everywhere. They're common in like the natural setting, in the suburbs, and even in the city. So most people have at one time or another come into contact with the opossum. They are oftentimes people think that they look a lot like a big rat, but they are not rodents at all. They are North America's only marsupial. And they're pretty special because they are marsupials. So that means that they're like the kangaroo, they have a pouch. And so I'm going to hold her up and see if we can get a shot of her pouch. She's not going to like it. But if you can see on her belly, it's a little round circle, and that's where they carry their babies. So, and I'm giving her grapes right now because...
Tara?
Oh,
how many
yes.
babies do they have?
So they can have up to 13 babies. And what's really interesting is that because they are marsupials, when they're born, they're about the size of your baby fingernail. They're so tiny, their gestation rate time is only 13 days. And then they crawl out of the birth canal and crawl up into the pouch. And so they stay in the pouch until they're old enough they ride on the back of their mother's back when she's just walking around and gathering food. And so oftentimes the babies will fall off the mother's back and the mother won't know about it. She won't notice. And so that's when we get a lot of calls. Springtime is baby season. And so the babies might fall off the mother's back and they cannot survive on their own. So it's really important that if you see a baby possum to call 543-WILD because you may think they can survive on their own, but they really can't. So are there any other questions?
They look so scary when they open their mouth. Are they dangerous?
Well, that's a good question. And we never recommend that people approach wild animals. When they're cornered, their only really line of defense is to scare their predator away. And so they open their mouth really wide and they look really scary. They hiss and they snarl, and they do have 50 very sharp teeth. So they can be dangerous, but they're not really aggressive. They really mind their own business. They just want to walk around and find food. That's their goal in life, is to find a good, tasty meal.
Question?
Yes, you have a question.
If I have one in my backyard, what should I do?
Well, if you can, just leave it alone, because possums are really beneficial in the environment. They're nature's garbage disposal. They eat snails and they eat like rotting fruit. They will not eat like fresh, like greens growing in a garden. They're just not really interested in that. They're more interested in insects and stinky things. They do like avocados though. So if you have an avocado tree, they will eat fallen avocados on the ground. They are omnivorous, so they need a really balanced diet. They like fruit.
Mice?
They do. They love mice. They like mice and they like insects, like I said, and they also love ticks, and that is a great benefit because they can eat like hundreds of ticks in one night. So the tick will jump on them, and then they just think that that's a tasty meal for them. So they're pretty happy with a tick diet. Okay, so they do not carry rabies very often. I mean, a very rare instance you can find an opossum with rabies, but it would be, again, very rare because their body temperature is lower than most mammals. They do have a pretty short lifespan. So like I said, she's about 2 years old, and that is about their lifespan. So because she's in captivity, she's probably going to live a little bit longer than they normally would. One of the things that happens to them often, they don't have great eyesight and they don't expect cars. So most people know about possums because they see them dead on the road. Okay, are there any other questions?
Why
Yes.
do you get them at Pacific Wildlife Care? Why do you get in opossums?
Well, we get in baby opossums mostly because they fall off the mother's back, but also because they're caught by cats. So a lot of times a cat will catch it, and so that's how someone will find it. Their cat caught it. So we often get possums in also because they've been hit by a car. That's the most common reason why we get adult possums. And sometimes if they have a broken limb, they can get a cast and they can be released again. And hopefully that's the case. Sometimes it's just they've been too injured by the car. Again, so possums are really great animals. They're not scary. They're super beneficial in the environment, and we love possums.
Hi, I'm Kathy Duncan, and I just thought I would show you a second little opossum. This is our newest little opossum ambassador, and her name is Penny Possum. She came to us because of an unfortunate situation. The person who rescued her set a rat trap, a snap trap, outside the house. We recommend you never set traps like that outside the house because they are not necessarily going to go for the intended target. Her mother got caught in the trap, and apparently the trap was stuck to the mom, who was running away with it attached to her, and she was running on a fence, and this baby fell off the fence. Possibly from the impact of the fall, it blinded her. She had neurological issues and would turn in circles, and she gradually overcame that, but she cannot be released because she is blind. So don't ever use sticky traps, don't ever set rat traps outside, and don't use rodenticides. Those are all very, very harmful to the unintended targets. One more thing is we get in some very tiny babies each year whose mother has been hit by a car, but the babies are actually alive in the pouch. So if you see a dead opossum by the side of the road and it is safe for you to pull over, you might check the pouch, and if it's a female, look and see if you find any live babies in there, because that happens more often than you think. So this is her first little talk, and I think she is doing quite well. So you will be seeing more of her. Thank you.